Oh my God, bitch. You guessed it. Oh, you guessed it. Hi, Shanti Tig. Oh my God, so happy to be here. Hope you are all doing amazing. Love to the Bitch Squad. PS. Yes. Okay. So we're gonna jibber jabber about something that's so near, so dear to my heart. It's something that I've been infusing into my work for so long, and it is this concept and beliefs and false beliefs blah, 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 around thinking that we have some sort of power over other people. Now, there's a big unpack around how to actually kind of like maneuver the universal laws, but that's not this episode. Okay, so don't come at me. But what I'm referring to is the fact that, how other people think and feel, that's not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility. Okay, I'm going to say it again. How other people think and feel is not your responsibility. It's not. Okay? Now, this might rub people the wrong way. That's what she said. But real talk. It's not yours. And when we take it on as ours, number one, it's like good luck. Number one, just good fucking luck with that. Okay. Yeah. And number two, that's people pleasing. Number three, it's manipulative. Okay. And number four, I know there's a number four here somewhere where that's what she said. What's the number four? It's just kind of like audacious to think that we have that kind of power, that like we can take on the responsibility of another person's experience of life, which is like, what the fuck? Who gave you the right? Like, what? Okay, so chances are you might not have ever thought about it like that, right? It's like, whoa, like who gave me the right? What? I've never thought about like considering other people's feelings in that particular way. And it's I'm thugging around like a little bit. And there is a difference. There's a difference. Like we want to be kind-hearted. We want to be open-hearted, but we want to also really understand that we came to play and we also have to pay to play, y'all. Meaning that your job is to just show up honest. Okay, that's your job. Our job as individuals is to show up honest. And through that honesty, then we can kind of understand the concept that other people in our life are players on our stage and we're players on their stage. And so if you think of any movie, book, play you've ever seen or read, uh, typically there's going to be the protagonist and the antagonist, right? So, when we do something that may or may not rub someone the wrong way, it's not that we're creating something for them. We're not creating a state of being for them. But what we are doing is, let me, before we go there, meaning like, I pissed that person off, or I made that person sad, or even the flip side to that, like I made that person's day. I made them really happy, blah, 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 right? Who gave you the right? But no, it's like, okay, so that's not what we're doing, right? What happens is we extend an invitation by honest co-creativity. Okay? When I'm showing up to the table honest, right? Well, I'm sending an invitation to the other person to kind of like, do you remember the books, the choose your own adventure books, right? I do. I used to fucking love them. I hope that they're still like a thing, and if they're not, Mama's gonna wrap one. But these choose your own adventure books, right, where there's like, there's kind of like these bullet points along the way that are kind of set, right? That's what happens when we're kind of looking at a life as a soul, a physical life as a soul to hop into, right? It's like, okay, I see these bullet points, like, my evolution as a soul is dependent on, experiencing either more or a deeper version of, or something totally new, right? So there's these bullet points along the way. But then I have these characters on my stage of life that present me with choice, and we could think of that as like free will, so to speak. And I know that there's a lot of different, people thinking a lot of different things about free will. And that's another episode, but we're going to call it free will for right now, or just choice, right? So these people, the actors on my stage are presenting me with an opportunity to make a choice, right? Or to go left, go right, whatever. And then you are the player on their stage that's presenting them with a choice to make. So y'all come to the table doing the most, but it's honest mostery, right? And this person is then presented with an opportunity of like, oh, I could get pissed. I could walk away. I could play along. I could join in on the mostness. Whatever, right? But whatever they end up choosing is not on you. You extend the invitation to that motherfucker to then make a choice. Are you with me? Are you with me? Like, does this make sense? Okay, so you are not responsible for how other people think and feel, right? And now we've been taught otherwise, right? And especially in the service industry, and I hear this a lot, be in service, do good to others. And yes, by all means, yes. Okay. However, what's the driving force behind your behavior? Yeah? What's the driving force? Okay? So if you're being kind and doing these acts of service in order for this other person not to fly off the handle, or you're trying to make up for something, or whatever, that's different than like an act of seva, right? An act of service. That is people pleasing. That is contorting your own behavior, which means that then you're going to come to the table fake, not honest, right? And that's no bueno. And then what else, right? And then the audacity of thinking that we have that kind of power over another person. That's buck wild cry cry. Okay, it is. Do you hear this? Do you see this? To think that I have the power over another person to like make them feel or think something. They are in command, whether they want to believe it or not, right? And then they might be presenting you with the false evidence that you do have that power, right? Where it's like, you pissed me off. You made me. Like, oh my God, you made my day. Now let me just be clear here. When someone does an act of kindness, like, you can celebrate that. Like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Yes, that made my day, right? But please know that it was your choice to participate in that way. You were open and you chose to be open enough, whether it was a known or unknown choice. We've talked about this before. We'll talk about it again. The difference between a deliberate action or an action by default, right? That's the unconscious versus the subconscious. Sleeper syndrome, tuned out, checked out, or tuned in, turned on. Okay. But by having that type of an exchange, or if someone extends that to you where it's like, oh my God, you just made my day, out of, an act of kindness or whatever the fucking case is, it's their receptivity. They made a choice to be receptive and to have that experience, just like somebody chooses to be receptive and have a shitty experience. There's still receptivity there. I'm gonna receive what you just did, and I'm gonna fucking choose to be pissed. Or whatever. But please know that whatever they choose is then in their hands. Yeah? And so this concept makes unapologetic living so much clearer, right? Then we can kind of go into these steps of like, well, how, I hear unapologetic living or live unapologetically. Yeah. And it's like, well, how do I do that? Because I really feel that like I affect people in like all these ways, and now I don't know how to act. I'm going to piss them off, and I have to overextend and people please, right? It's like, no, honey, how other people think and feel is not for you. Ultimately, it's not your fucking business. It really, really isn't. And because then you might take their experience as a critique on yourself, when really you just want to be doing like self-critique, right? All right. So do you smell what I'm stepping in? We will get into so much more of this because, bitch, it's so fucking important. Love you all so much. Mwah.